Shocking details about the disappearance of Amelia Earhart, the legendary first female pilot to fly solo across the Atlantic, have recently been revealed, which could be the key to solving the whole story. Did she fall into the sea, was kidnapped, or is she still alive under a different identity? Don't take your eyes off the video, because you're about to see evidence that has never been published. The Last Flight. In 1937, Amelia Earhart, America's iconic female pilot, embarked on the most ambitious journey of her career, a circumnavigation of the world following the equator. Accompanying her was Fred Noonan, an experienced navigator who had navigated trans-Pacific routes. The aircraft they used was a Lockheed Electra 10E, a state-of-the-art twin-engine aircraft designed specifically for such a long and complicated journey. Their journey began in Oakland, California, and they flew over South America, Africa, India, and Southeast Asia before entering the Pacific Ocean. On July 2, 1937, they left Lee, New Guinea, bound for Howland Island, a tiny island almost invisible in the vast ocean, as their final stop before returning to the United States. But they never made it there. In the final minutes before her disappearance, Amelia sent a terrifying radio message. "We must be on you, but cannot see you. Fuel is running low." The adverse conditions of Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan's flight created an extremely tense and dangerous situation. Bad weather, with strong winds and heavy rain, made it difficult to navigate the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean. At the same time, unstable radio signals disrupted communication between the plane and the Itasca, the U.S. Navy's support ship. Radio communications, already difficult to begin with, were compounded by interference and technical problems, making the signals from Earhart's plane weak and unrecognizable. The Itasca, which was sent near Howland Island, where Amelia Earhart was planning to land, made every effort to locate the signal and attempt to guide the plane to the correct location. However, although the ship was positioned close to the island, it was unable to determine the exact coordinates of the plane. The weak, unclear signals and the lack of precision in the location made a rescue mission almost impossible. Within hours, all signals from the plane stopped. Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan had disappeared without a trace. Despite an extensive search, no debris or trace of the Lockheed Electra was ever found, and from that moment on, they officially became part of one of the greatest and most fascinating mysteries in the history of 20th century aviation and exploration. While classic theories have attempted to explain Amelia Earhart's disappearance for decades, they all lack one crucial element: irrefutable evidence. So what has caused this mystery to resurface recently? Could discoveries overturn previous assumptions? And are we closer than ever to the truth after more than 80 years of waiting? Classic hypotheses. Over the past 80 years, a series of hypotheses have been put forward to explain the mysterious disappearance of Amelia Earhart and navigator Fred Noonan. Below are the most prominent hypotheses which have stirred up the international research and media community. Immediately after losing signal, the U.S. Navy launched the largest search operation ever at that time, mobilizing the aircraft carrier USS Lexington, the cruiser USS Colorado, and many other ships, along with reconnaissance aircraft. According to this hypothesis, due to bad weather conditions and malfunctioning communication systems, Amelia could not locate Howland Island and eventually ran out of fuel, causing the plane to crash into the vast Pacific Ocean. Although there were some reports of weak radio signals from an unknown source after the plane disappeared, no debris was found, leaving this hypothesis lacking concrete physical evidence, although it is still the direction supported by many authorities. The second most prominent theory is proposed by the Aviation History Research Organization, TIGHA. They believe that the plane did not crash into the sea, but flew further than expected and landed or ran aground on Gardner Island now part of the island nation of Kiribati. Here, archaeological teams have discovered several artifacts suspected of being related to Amelia, including incomplete human bones discovered in 1940 but then lost. Early analysis suggested they were male, but later reanalysis, based on descriptions and measurements, suggests they may be female. Women's 1930s-style shoes, a piece of glass that fits a Lockheed Electra window, aviation aluminium rivets, a makeup mirror, and personal items. Photographs taken from a 1937 reconnaissance plane are said to show aircraft tracks or unusual damage on the reef. Although this hypothesis has a lot of compelling supporting evidence, no clear DNA analysis has yet confirmed the identity of the bone fragments found, leading to a long-standing controversy within the scientific community. One of the most controversial theories is that Amelia Earhart did not crash, but was captured by the Japanese military on the island of Saipan, which Japan controlled at the time. This theory suggests that she was assigned by the US government as a spy and that the round-the-world flight was just a cover. Some US veterans who served in the Pacific have said that they have heard or seen evidence of a captive white woman. An old photo was circulated claiming to show Earhart being held captive with Fred Noonan at Saipan Harbor, but the photo was later proven to have been taken before 1937, partially undermining the argument. This theory lacks reliable physical evidence and has been dismissed by many historians for its lack of clear basis, but it is still exploited by the media for its thrilling, political, and dramatic elements. The final theory is one of the strangest and most controversial. Amelia Earhart survived, but chose to fake her death and live incognito. Many believe that a woman named Irene Bolam, living in New Jersey, was Earhart under her new identity. Irene's portrait, posture, cheekbones, and ears have been compared, and biometric analysis has even shown some similarities. However, forensic examinations and Irene Bolam's records, including birth, marriage, and employment records, have completely disproved this suspicion. Irene herself sued publishers for using her name without permission, and the case was ultimately ruled unfounded. Each theory has its own plausible and dubious points, but to date, none has been confirmed. And it is the lack of clear evidence that has made the story of Amelia Earhart one of the greatest mysteries of the 20th century, lasting for generations. But is history being rewritten? In recent years, a series of new discoveries with the support of modern technology have forced researchers to reconsider the entire incident. Is this the final key to unlocking the biggest mystery in aviation history? Latest details. After decades of seemingly being forgotten, a series of discoveries and technologies have emerged in recent years, raising hopes that the mystery of Amelia Earhart may soon be solved. A major turning point came in 2017 when the US National Archives unexpectedly released a previously classified document believed to belong to the OSS, the predecessor of today's CIA. Inside the document is a black and white photo taken in the port of Jaluit, in the Marshall Islands, which was under the control of the Japanese Empire in the 1930s. In the photo, a woman appears to look very much like Amelia Earhart, with short hair, a familiar sitting posture. Next to her is a man wearing a hat and beard similar to Fred Noonan, her fellow navigator. In the distance is a tugboat believed by some researchers to be the Koshu Maru, the Japanese ship that was suspected of towing the wreckage of the Lockheed Electra. Photographers and experts say, this may be the strongest photographic evidence ever, reinforcing the hypothesis that Earhart did not die at sea, but was captured. However, there is also a counter-argument that the photo may have been taken before 1937 and the identity of the person cannot be verified. One of the clearest hopes now comes from modern ocean survey technology. The Ocean Infinity Organization, the unit that participated in the search for MH37, has launched a campaign to search for Earhart's Lockheed Electra using underwater robots and high-tech sonar equipment. During the surveys, they discovered a large metal structure on the seabed, about 100 km northwest of the predicted location of Howland Island. Sonar images show an object similar in size to a Lockheed Electra 10E, with unusual features that suggest it is not a natural geological formation. Ocean Infinity is currently working with aviation experts and the US military to verify the images and extract data, and observers expect that if it is Earhart's plane, this will be a historic breakthrough. Beyond ocean survey technology, scientists have also used new-generation DNA testing techniques to re-examine bone samples discovered on Nicumaroro Island, where Earhart is suspected to have survived and stranded. The bone samples were discovered in the late 1940s, but were considered inconsistent with Earhart due to scientific limitations at the time. However, in 2024, an international research team reanalyzed geometric and DNA data from Amelia's relatives. Preliminary results showed a high compatibility with Earhart's gender, height, and race. In addition, artifacts collected on the island, such as mirror fragments, combs, alloy studs, and 1930s women's shoes, are also being compared using chemical and spectroscopy analysis techniques, with results matching the items Earhart often carried. While there has been no official statement from the government or major scientific organizations, a growing body of evidence, from photographs, seafloor surveys, and DNA, is building up to paint an increasingly clear picture of Amelia Earhart's fate. For the first time in more than 80 years, we may be getting closer to the truth. But when all the pieces are put together, what do researchers say? Are the old theories being confirmed? Did Earhart survive, and have we been wrong for too long? Let's take a look at the latest expert opinions and scientific analysis to see if history is being rewritten right before our eyes. Expert opinion. As theories continue to be explored and new evidence continues to emerge, researchers, from prestigious scientific organizations like the Smithsonian to the independent investigation group TIGHA, have made clear and compelling statements about Amelia Earhart's survival after her disappearance in 1937. Smithsonian expert. The possibility that Earhart survived is real. Based on recent analysis reports, some experts from the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum have argued that it is impossible to rule out the possibility that Earhart and navigator Fred Noonan landed on a remote island, possibly Nicumaroro, and survived for some time before passing away. They cite the presence of items such as women's shoes, combs, and 1930s medical supplies found there, consistent with Western women of that era. The TIGHA team has made more than 10 field trips to Nicumaroro. They have collected pieces of glass believed to be from a telescope or a pilot's watch, and a bottle of American-made sunscreen, the kind sold only to women in the 1930s. While they cannot confirm the evidence with certainty, they argue that the pieces of evidence together form a complete picture that deserves serious consideration. Many researchers agree that technical factors played a large role in Earhart's disappearance. At the time, radio navigation systems were still in their infancy. A small error in the flight path or radio signal could have sent the plane hundreds of miles off Howland Island and put them in a dead zone where no one could have heard their distress call. Smithsonian navigation expert Tom Crouch once commented, "Fred Noonan was one of the best navigators, but no one could overcome the imprecision of the technology of the time." The disappearance of Amelia Earhart has long been shrouded in a fog of speculation, conspiracy theories, and vague memories. However, when comparing new information from satellite images, excavated specimens, to modern DNA analysis, researchers assert that the case is no longer an eternal mystery, but a puzzle that is gradually unraveling with each layer of evidence. Unanswered questions. Decades of research have produced compelling theories and evidence, but key questions remain unanswered, holes that keep the Amelia Earhart story one of the greatest mysteries of the 20th century. Why was there no clear SOS signal recorded? Amelia was believed to have been carrying a radio device that could send out distress signals. In the hours after she lost contact, ships and stations in the Pacific tried to pick up the signal. Some people even claim to have heard her radio calls for help for days afterwards. But not a single signal has been confirmed or officially recorded. Researchers wonder, was the transmitter broken, or was the frequency off, preventing anyone from receiving the signal? Or worse, was someone deliberately withholding the signals that were picked up? Who really controlled the information back then, and was something hidden? One of the most haunting questions. Why were the records of the US Navy and related agencies lost, classified or inaccessible for years after the incident? Many documents were only declassified after 2000, nearly 70 years after Earhart's disappearance. The appearance of the photo in 2017 in the archives of the OSS, predecessor to the CIA, has only fueled this question. If the photo is from 1937, why wasn't it used at the time of the search? Was it for political, military, or defense reasons that part of the truth was hidden? If Earhart did survive, what happened to her afterwards? Assuming Earhart and Noonan landed on the island, survived briefly, or were even discovered by someone else, why is their ultimate fate unknown? The fake dead and live with a new identity theory once gained traction, with Irene Bolam being suspected of being Earhart. However, biometric analysis has ruled it out. That doesn't rule out the possibility that Earhart was living under the protection or supervision of a government, even against her will. And to this day, these questions remain unanswered. Is the truth about Amelia Earhart still buried deep beneath the sea, or is it just waiting for another discovery to reveal all its secrets? What do you think? Are we close to the answer, or is there